My name is Oshifesolu Larry. I'm a mechanic. Welcome to Exxon F1, also known as from Lawon, Colombo, Africa. And to this, let me start with my apologies. The prediction for the race did not really work, but it was a beautiful race. The prediction yesterday was on spot. We got it right yesterday. Because of Monza, didn't work on Red Bull this time. But what a race. This is the first true race of the season. On the race 13th exactly today, after how many races? That's about 15 races, and we're having just the first true race of the season. Wow. It started with drama at the beginning with Yuki Tsunoda having his second DNS. That is, did not start in Monza 3 years, which means this is the second time that he would not start a race in Monza. The first one was in 2021, Monza GP race. He could not start. As we move on, let me just tell you this: 340,140 people attended this race. It was a swarm of red army. You know what that means? If any intruder entered their midst last one, they might lynch that person. This Tifosi red army is just naturally great. They are not people that are just about one driver, one race. Some of them are supporting Mercedes, some of them are supporting Red Bull, some of them are supporting McLaren and others, but they are just in red, white, and black. If there's any orange army there, they would have summed that person up as in. You won't see that person at all. They are just true people. They are just pristine. The way they are attracted to their team, even with the position they came up with at the end of the race, they are just natural. They are just beautiful. They are just lovely people, and that is the effect of Ferrari. The effect of a man that changed the face of the car industry and the motorsport. Enzo Ferrari really did a lot in that aspect in his home country, Italy. The way he ran the team, the way he ran his company, Ferrari Motorsport F1 Racing, is just on another level. And that tradition has been passed on to generation, down to this present generation. And I'm sure the effect of that is why there are two Italian GPs. We have the Imola and also the Monza. The Imola was not held this year due to the flooding. The Monza was held and it was powerful. I am shell-shocked to see the reaction, the way these people are just powerful. You know, they've not won a race this year, and there's no certainty that they would win a race this year. But the swarm of the support is just on another level. They are giving it all. They don't care what is happening. They are just like, this is a tradition. And to the people in Italy, in the northern part of Italy, Modena, Monza, Imola, wow, you guys are wonderful. You know, I had to make this tribute to them because it is powerful. You know, that kind of emotions you have watching what somebody had done, it should give us emotion. I just want to touch on this as Africans, to look at what we do. Is not that we are superior. We made ourselves who we are here after selling our culture, selling everything we have to the whites, and we still respect them, but we don't respect ourselves. We don't love ourselves. We don't really treat ourselves the way we should treat ourselves. We don't give enough back, you know, the way we should give back to the society, the community, the way we should help ourselves, lift ourselves up, make our society better. Look at what Ferrari has done. Look at what Red Bull has done in Austria and all around the world with sports. Look at what Elon Musk has done with US. He left South Africa at a younger age, got to US. I think he should give back to Africa. He should give back to South Africa, his home country. He should give back to them, and his hometown especially. But what happened during the race? Yuki Tsunoda stopped on the formation lap and could not start the race. There was an orange flag. There was another formation lap, and the car was still there. There was a red flag, and the race was delayed for about 23 minutes so as for the car to be able to be taken away from where it was parked. The car was taken away from where it was parked, and the tires were cold. They had to do another formation lap, which has taken it like 2 laps away from the race. The race was meant to be a 53 lap race. Now we are on a 51 lap race. Because of the fuel, there's a certain amount of fuel that will be filled in this car, and after the race there will be test samples taken. So if you have underfueled your car to show, so they need to know how to make that work so that these drivers can go around and still have the perfect fuel and the number of laps. And also they need to test all their gear changes very well during the formation lap. Also they need to have a great tire warm-up, and like I said, Lewis Hamilton will go for the white stripe tire yesterday in our last podcast, while others can make the choices they want because they have nothing to lose. But for him to go on a longer race, he will go for the white stripe tire and go for the yellow next, or the red. But nobody was using the red because the track temperature was ranging between 45 and 49 degrees. That's how hot it was in Monza. So tire tires were meant to be managed so that they won't run out of tires, and they're meant to be one stop, in which some teams went for 2 stops, just few drivers. So how did the rain pan out? Carlos Sainz was able to hold Max Verstappen back for 15 laps in the race, which were like one of the most dreadful 15 laps of his racing career, because he's having a charging bull right behind him and he's driving a charging horse. And this bull that is having behind him is not just a mad bull, it's a well-trained bull, aerodynamically and forcefully, that is charging against him now and is ready to knock him out at any corner. Unfortunately, he was able to give us a good racing, as Carlos Sainz deserved the driver of the day. He's meant to win it like 70%, because he gave us true racing today against Max Verstappen, against Sergio Perez, against his own teammate. That guy is a beast. The Ferrari had turned up their engine a little so as to give their fan the right spectacle in the race, because they were compensating speed for aerodynamics, because on the straight they were a little bit extremely fast, very very fast, and it really panned out and worked out well for them, because they did a very good job. George Russell did a very good job also to be able to hold Sergio Perez back for about 16 to 17 laps. He did a stellar job. Like I said, this is just the first race of the season, because other races are just like Max Verstappen lead from the beginning, and even changing tire strategy, everything, he keeps leading. At most you can take 2 laps of lead out of him, but the rest he keeps leading. But this race gave a different view of where we are going to end before the end of the year, because it shows that other teams are catching up, which is great, and it shows how racing has been done for over 13 years before Red Bull built the best car in F1. Normally we have drivers racing each other and they get the best of each other and they lead. The other races this season from last year had been just as in, I don't get it. No competition, no fighting at the top of the ladder. Nothing like that. But this race was beautiful. And congratulations to the Red Bull team for 15 straight wins in F1. And it started counting from UAE Abu Dhabi last year. Congratulations to Max Verstappen for 10 straight wins back to back. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to his team. They've done a stellar job. They've done a beautiful job this year. And they've had the best car. Chris Horner will be telling us so many rubbish things sometimes, because I still feel like they've cheated in so many ways, and the cost cap issue is there. The FIA is not talking about it, and I think we all deserve to know what is going on in the cost cap this year. We need to know. Not at the end of the season they will now tell us somebody won, but it cannot be changed because something has happened. This is like 3 races. We've had the break. They should have sorted the cost cap issue out and just give us the breaking news immediately after the first race. This is the 3rd race after the season break, and we don't know what has happened. The FIA should talk. Let us know where we are. Let us know those teams that have broken the cost cap rule, technically, financially, and whatever. Let us know, and let us know where we are going to, and let us know the punishment, because it can't be a pat on the hand like it has been. That being said, George Russell, he gave a good account of himself in the race today. He started 4th, he ended the race 5th, and the way the race panned out was so beautiful. It was Red Bull 1-2, Ferrari 3-4, Mercedes 5-6. And aside from it being a Mercedes 5-6, I think we should all agree now that, because some people will come out and start saying maybe I'm siding a team. I'm not for a team, because there are still so many things I will talk about, and I still have one person to lash now. Not just one person, some teams, some people to lash, because we all deserve to be truthful to ourselves and to not support somebody because we love somebody. And for me, I'm for all the drivers, but if you're a driver and you are doing wrong, or you're a team you are doing rubbish, I will tell you straight. And let me say this, Perez had a good run today. He said it himself that since Baku the car has not been the same, but I think this race they've really gotten the car back to what's meant to be, after I believe he had been cheated on for his teammate to keep leading him. You cannot be running a race that ain't your own. So that guy has been running in a car that has been tricked and has not been enjoying races. And the car today, beautiful. Even at the end of the race, Verstappen was lifting and coasting, but Sergio Perez was able to be lapping the same time, in which had not happened in over 11 races. Sergio Perez had issues of his own, in which some drivers would have had also, and he had not been perfect this season. But this race is different. He had issues of his own during the practice, during the qualifying, but with his engine change to one of the old engines, he did a stellar job today. And it shows that, well, Red Bull have gotten his car back to what is meant to be, because they know that he cannot beat Max Verstappen again. They've gotten him back to. They should come and tackle me, Chris Horner. Like I said, I won't be calling him Christian Horner again. He's not a Christian. Chris Horner should come and tackle me. Or Helmut Marko should say something about it. And for diehard fans that keep saying rubbish, you are welcome. Tackle me. Say it. Say it out loud, because it's unfair. Look at the way Ferrari had been racing. They've given their drivers the same equipment they've been able to allow them to decide the way the car should perform and work and function. That's not the same for Red Bull, but if you look at Mercedes, it has been the same for over 10 years, the way they allow the drivers to race each other. But in some races, when they know they have a lot to lose, they will tell one driver to give way to the other. That is official calls. I think Ferrari didn't do a good job on that today because they could have lost positions and lost points today. Yes. And McLaren has been doing a good job with that. Other teams have been doing a good job with that. But Red Bull had never done a good job with that. They've been like a cheat team, but congratulations to them. That is for them. So, how did the top 10 go? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mercedes-powered engines in the top 10. So, they're having 50% of their engine in the top 10, which tells you how strong Mercedes is. The Mercedes engine have been dominant this season, though Red Bull car has been very, very dominant. The Mercedes engine, as in top 10 in races, they've been dominant. They've not really had issues, except for issues with team, maybe misfiring or fuel or oil for teams running their engine. They've been so dominant and powerful. So has also Ferrari engine, though they've had their issues, but sincerely, only 2 car manufacturers run the Red Bull powertrain, but they have never been dominant. Even in their own team, they've not been. Red Bull, your life. You guys need to work on not just an attitude of winning, but an attitude of winning as a bunch, as a whole, as a team, as friends, as powerful people, not just winning in the way that you think you win. So Ferrari had 3 engines in the top 10, while the Red Bull powertrain had 2. So during the race, Charles Leclerc of the Ferrari closed in on the 2 Red Bulls and on his teammate, but Carlos Sainz was wonderful. In the first 15 laps, he was able to defend against the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. He came up short when he locked up his tire, and that fast steaming bull was able to overtake him. During the race, he was able to defend stunt, beautiful, think-like defending against Checo Perez, which was another beautiful one. He defended, he had lockups, he had his tires burnt out, and he gave account of himself against his teammate, and that is where I'm going to. I think Ferrari should wake up. I'm sure Fred Vasseur would not watch some part of the race, especially towards the end of the race when his drivers were doing rubbish. You guys were like 22 seconds ahead of George Russell. Finish in sync. What are you chasing? No, what are they chasing? Okay, yeah, I understand. They were trying to give Kevin Magnussen, the driver they've lapped, a movie to watch, because that one just sat behind them and was watching the drama they were doing unfold right in his own very before. He was watching them performing rubbish. Charles Leclerc trying to overtake Carlos Sainz for points to keep lead. Yes, you need to keep lead, but you need to end this race. This is your home race. They both nearly crashed out. Charles Leclerc almost ran into his teammate's car at the point which would have taken both of them out of the race when they were looking for points, and they would have given Mercedes decent points. JJ. It was like 2 laps to the end of the race. They were able to talk to the drivers, and still Charles Leclerc never gave in. He was racing. Yes, if it were like you guys are leading the championship like those days of Mercedes, Nico Rosberg and Hamilton, even when those ones are not leading, that rabbit that enters their head and start making them perform rubbish, they will just be colliding into themselves, running rubbish race, and this should not be it, because they know they will win the championship at the end of the day. But you guys are like 5 years behind the Red Bull in the Constructors Championship, and you are racing yourself like kids. You are almost ending your own race. As in, who does that? Ferrari should just look into what they are doing and just talk some sense into the driver's head, because that should not be the way the race should be run. If they had collided into each other and the race ended, they've lost points in their home race. No matter how loving those guys are, I'm sure if it were like UK or Nigeria, they would do something, because they can't come. 340,000 people can't come out to support you, and at the end of the day, you are doing rubbish, telling us you are racing against each other, destroying cars. The Yoruba will say, about you and our boys in a journey now. But I think that is not well done for Ferrari, but though they did a stellar job today. But in that part of the race, I think they need to look at each other in the eyes and tell themselves the truth. What they did was pure nonsense. They should have looked for a way to give a balance, to tell these guys, oh guys, come, we need to bring this car home in the right condition. And to Lewis Hamilton, I still need to look at that part of the race, his collision with Piastri, but I think Lewis Hamilton didn't do a good job there. I have to confess, he was trying to really overtake and push Piastri out of the race, and you should know these young boys are not going to give you any breathing space. Piastri stuck to his track because they had given Lewis Hamilton a full car space for him to overtake, but Lewis Hamilton was trying to overtake him so that he would slow him down to get the corner, but Piastri was not giving into that, and he ran into Piastri, chunked his tire and he got 5-second penalty for his lovely troubles, which I think was okay, but I still think I need to watch that part to be sure. But I believe it was Lewis Hamilton's mistake. These young drivers are not giving any of these old guns any reason to think that, yeah, they are supreme. For all his trouble, he got the 5-second penalty and he was able to still make 6th position after doing well to take on Alex Albon and Landon Norris and build a 7-second gap between himself and them, and which gave him that. But I think he did the wrong thing. And also to Piastri, I think Piastri should use his brain sometimes. Racing is technical. You should also use your head, because if he looks at where he is, he could not get any point today. He should have gotten like 2 points or 3 points in the race. But at the end of the day, he ended up getting 0 points. He got the fastest lap of the race. And if you're out of the top 10, there's no point for you. So I think sometimes these drivers also should think hindsight and foresight, like, okay, if I do this, if I still maintain this and something happens, what happens to my race? He compromised his own race because he was trying to claim I am right. It's not about you are right sometimes. Sometimes it's all about the points, because every point you get can take you and your team ahead of another team. Just 1 point can decide or determine the championship. They should think about that also. So I think he himself needs to talk to himself, because at the point, you don't look at it like, I have nothing to lose. Let me do this. Let me do that. It's all about the points. Football matches are won with points, with the 3 points. Some people will say, oh, Guardiola is a good coach, he's doing this. But if a Real Madrid defends for 90 minutes and score a goal, Guardiola didn't win the match. Manchester City didn't win the match. Real Madrid won the match. So you can play beautiful football and not score a goal. Goals win matches. Points win championships. Points win championships. I think these drivers should know, and the team should be able to tell them that is how they get the money to finance and fund this team for the next year. So people should start getting it into their head, or team principle is not the fan that decides what happens. It is the leader, either the coach, the team principal, the CEO that determines, and which is what Red Bull is doing. They want to win all the points. They don't care how they win it. They want to win all the points. So they should think about that. That is to McLaren and Piastri. For Lewis Hamilton, he needs to look at himself, look at that video again and correct himself, because I believe what he did there was rubbish. And I think Piastri too should think, because he's a young driver, first year in Formula 1. He needs to also have the experience about that what he's gone in for is points, not claiming rights. You don't claim rights at some point in your life. You understand? Ferrari should talk to themselves also, because they did rubbish, allowing those guys to race each other, at the end of the day almost losing out. But congratulations to Ferrari also. They've leaped Aston Martin with some points, because they got maximum point today, and it was only Alonso that was able to get 2 decent points for Aston Martin team, which gave Ferrari an opportunity to leapfrog them in the Constructors' Championship. And I think that is what they really love, but they would have compromised themselves during the race. And to Williams, I said it yesterday that anybody that Williams car is ahead of, especially in the hands of Alex Albon, is in trouble. And that happened today. He was ahead of the Mercedes, the McLaren, and the Aston Martin. He showed them shaggy, because all through he was ahead of them. He has lost his tire at the point for like 10 to 12 laps towards the ending of the race. Defended well. Lewis Hamilton was able to overtake him and build the gap ahead of him, because he had fresher medium tires. Aside from that, his tires were older than Norris's tire, older than Piastri's tire, older than Fernando Alonso's tire, but he held them behind him. Like, you guys are going nowhere. As far as I'm ahead, that car is fast. On the straight line, that car is fast. And that happened. And he got great maximum 7 position with good points in his pocket, which is giving Williams great season this year due to a wonderful drive by Alex Albon and the little changes they've been able to make to that Williams to make it the best straight line speed car. At least for now, they're having about 19 kph ahead of Red Bull on the straight line. Mercedes is having a deficit of 12 kph behind the Red Bull this present second half of the season. I think if Mercedes can turn things around with that 12 kph and have that same speed on straight line with the Red Bull, it would be a good season for them. They will give Red Bull a run for their money. I think they will win some races. That is, if they can do that. They know where the deficits are now, but the foundation of the car, like I said, has not been a good one to change, to alter for them as a team. So it will give them a big challenge in doing that, but they can still get something out of the season. But they are gunning for the second position, and I think Lewis Hamilton is trying to go for second position to try and see how he can leapfrog Perez. But because he said that, that is why I think Red Bull had fixed back Perez's car so that they can get 1 and 2 and also the best championship points. I think they are starting to use their head now because they've lost it before. Then to Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson has driven well, 2 races, 11 position in 2 races back to back. You might say he's lucky, but he's driving well. He's driving his ass out. He's driving very, very well this season. Oscar Piastri getting the fastest lap of the race is also a great thing. He has been driving well. He has been giving his teammate Lando Norris a good run for his money. And to the Haas team, we know they've been a very good team, though they are behind, but they know they have a lot of grounds to cover. They've done a good job this season, but the problem is whenever they lit their tires up and they are doing well, tires fade out, which has been the Achilles heel this season. So they need to work on that, because the seasons so far they've always been in good positions, but they've lost out due to losing tires and they can't keep up with the tires. So also Alpha Tauri, but Liam Lawson has done a good job for them. Alfa Romeo, Bottas did a good job getting the last point home in the race today and taking that Alfa Romeo in their home race into 1 point, which is also a good point for them, because the Alfa Romeo has been a very difficult and bad car to drive, but getting a point in this race is massive for them. From a legend driver, Valtteri Bottas, very good point for them. For Alpine still have a lot to do. They've complained about the engine equalization, which has not worked for them and has not been given to them, but I think next season they already know what they are doing. FIA should unfreeze the engine and give everybody an opportunity to do some little tweaks on their engine, so that there will be engine equalization, because they are down on their engine as regards others in the races. So they need to do something about that also, which will bring them into good points. George Russell thought undercut would be a very good thing on that track, but undercut was not, because these drivers were running close and it was difficult pitting the driver to undercut and bringing him out in a very good position in free here. So that did not happen. So undercut was not a good thing on that track. Also, tire stress management was not really good because of the sun and because of the way the track is, because you are just running 80% on full throttle and the braking points are so sharp. But it gave us a good racing, and it gave us today the true taste of what Formula 1 should be like. Close to 30 races, we're having the taste of what a Formula 1 race should be like. All the drivers, thank you for giving us what a Formula 1 race should be like. On to the next one in 2 weeks time in Singapore. Thank you, we love you. Subscribe, like, share, comment. I love you. Bye. Chi.
Gibor gives you power. Gibor gives you control. Gibor gives you benefits. Are you an individual or business that uses fuel or gas? Use Gibor to find the best prices across all retail outlets in your city. For users and businesses that buy volumes, Gibor gives you access to credit. Gibor also gives you the ability to track your costs and monitor expenses per car or fleet. Need to improve your costs, enjoy incentives, or track expense? Gibor is the answer. Enjoy 5% discount on your first 5 purchases when you get your next fuel voucher from Gibor. Log on to www.gibor.co to enjoy this. Retail outlets wanted nationwide.
We have a new friend in the house. We are in Nigeria here, West Africa. He provides internet for us. They provide the best internet around the mainland, and I know they are still moving to the highland and they are moving all around Nigeria. But for you to get internet on the mainland, contact Fibrad Telecom Limited. They get you sorted out ASAP. The best cable internet on the mainland, fiber, I think they get sorted out. We talk much about them in the course of some of our videos, but contact them, they get sorted out. If you're a builder, if you're an art collector, if you have a showroom, Rated is the best place to get the artworks you need for your new buildings, for your art collections, for your showroom, for your exhibition. Rated Art have one of the best murals, mosaic works, and different art patterns in Nigeria presently. And it's somebody that you can communicate with, talks to you, you tell him what you want, and he will bring the reality out for you. Contact Rated Art. His number is right up here, and you can also go on social media links that are pasted right up here to check out some of his works. Thank you. Teams Gadget is for those of you that cannot easily go to the market to get your phones, your laptops, your accessories. Just place a call through. His phone number is there. It gets you the best. It's your shop plug to get you the best phones, accessories, laptops, games, and other accessories for your computer gaming experience. Contact Teams Gadget and you get them for you.